And good morning, Hoosier fans, and welcome to another victorious edition of Hoosier Morning After. This is Hoosier Morning After Wyoming. Wyoming? I'm going to say that word more today in these next couple minutes than I've ever said Wyoming in probably my whole life. But 2 nights ago, your Indiana Hoosiers very late go on to defeat the Wyoming Cowboys 66-58 in a game that really started out ugly and had me nervous. Maybe you had you nervous as well when we had one of those games where the shots just wouldn't go down. It was a brand new, weird looking orange, outdoor looking ball, and both teams struggled a little bit to put that thing in the hoop, and kind of had to hold on to the edge of my seat because here we go. How are things going to go? And like it has many times this year, it's the defense that stayed strong and kept Indiana into it. Going into the second half, it appeared that the team definitely did some things to adjust to it. We got downhill a little bit more. Trace Jackson-Davis just got on fire, took over, and a surprising jump from someone else. As this team tends to go when we have a full roster, it's excellent to have the compliments that we do and have the chance for different guys to step up at different games. And that person was Jordan in this game. And we'll get into it a little bit deeper. But one last thing I'll say in this intro is, man, I was watching the press conference again this morning, and it just feels good to see that little blue NCAA patch on that jersey. Indiana's back in the tournament. Things feel right. Everything's been checked off the list for Woody's first year. And now we're in the tournament. It's bonus basketball, and it's fun, it's exciting. We want to win, we want to struggle, we want to get each game, but it's just nice to be here and be able to enjoy it. So joining me is a regular sidekick, Martha the Mop Lady. Martha, what's your opening thoughts on Indiana's first tournament game in a long time?
Yeah, you go into it, 6 years removed from our last tournament appearance. So you go in, first off, it's, with not having played in an NCAA tournament in that amount of time, you're playing in the first four against an opponent that really a lot of us don't know anything about. It's such a quick turnaround time from our game Saturday against Iowa. So you're scrambling to try to, learn what you can about Wyoming. And so you really go into it not really knowing what to expect, right? Teams playing well. Seems like they found something at the Big Ten tournament. So you certainly go in with some confidence, but man, there's certainly some nervousness too, being the first tournament appearance. And I think there were from the guys too, right? I mean, they came out, and I think both teams looked really, really tense. I think they both collectively shot under 40% in the first half, which, really ugly basketball. But sometimes that happens in the tournament. It doesn't matter unless you find a way to win, and that's what IU did. They leaned on their defense like they have so much this season. New guy stepped up, and I'm sure we'll get to it in Jordan Geronimo. But coming from, not knowing whether he was going to be even available, after his leg injury against Illinois, to have him come up and have a career high last night, and just another guy stepping up. When Race kind of had an off game, and kind of a funky squad, Wyoming, the old back down style offense where they're just consistently backing you down defensively. It was just something that IU hadn't really seen all year. So to see them fight through that, continue to battle, and once again, like they have so many times within the last week, find a way to win. That's what inspires me and gives me confidence going into tonight.
Yeah, and it was that weird offense. It would be very weird to be a Wyoming fan. It's been successful. They've proven to make it work for them, and it's gotten them obviously this far to be in the tournament. But such an interesting back down style, and to have a point guard that you also send and likes to do that back down with everyone overloading the other side and giving him room to do that, and then the oddity, a lot of interesting pieces that kind of go together well. Then you have a 6'10" guy that shoots the three really well that you can then kick it out to. Which is going to cause other teams to have their big man not close out or be out there away from the basket too much for that. And that clears the way for your other big guy to be underneath and back down his. So very interesting, complementary, but unique unique options that team has. And along with that, keeping with the defense, Parker Stewart played a lot of those minutes against their star guard who wanted to do that. And that was a better matchup for him. We know he's kind of struggled before on defensive side when he's had to play against these other teams, really strong guards that can drive past him very easily. His lateral movement is not that good, but where he was able to excel in this instance was because he wanted to back down. The guy wanted to back down, and Parker being larger in size was more physical and everything. And Parker did finish with the most minutes, oddly enough, too, on the team. And I was shocked when I saw that stat for the first time. Tell me, what did you think about Parker and his play and defense overall?
Yeah, I think it seems like with Parker, the path of least resistance for the fan base is to look at what he produces offensively and kind of judge him from there. And, he missed some shots. So it was like, hey, let's get him off the floor. Let's get somebody else in there. But you look at the job he was able to do on, was it Maldonado? Is that his name? Hunter Maldonado. He put up 21 points, but he also turned the ball over 10 times. Which is huge, right? And part of that, I think Parker maybe got in his head a little bit, and Parker's a big wide body for a guard, so I think defensively he certainly held his own against. They really had two guys that I think put up double points or double figures in points, Ike and Maldonado. So. And you look at his job on Maldonado, yeah, he scored 21 points, but again, the turnovers, right? So I think that you can't overlook that. Again, we always want to look at what he's doing offensively, and you start to add up the missed shots, and people get frustrated with Parker. But you've got to look at what he was able to do defensively too, and I really think that he was able to step up on Tuesday night and really hold his own against arguably their best player.
Yeah, and those turnovers were 19-8 in favor of IU, and IU was able to turn those turnovers into 17 points, and Wyoming only 3. So despite being a weird ball, IU kept a hold of that ball a lot better. I think it only just kind of affected their shooting with it, and I think X even mentioned in the press afterwards that or in comments after the game somewhere that it seemed to bounce differently for him, or it felt weird coming off the rim.
Yeah, what an NCAA move to have teams play with specific basketballs all year, and then say, hey, it's tournament. What? Guess what? It's tournament time. We're going to change the basketball on you. Like let's maybe allow them to use them in the conference tournaments or figure something out that may get them a little bit of exposure with the basketball. Maybe they did, but it's awfully weird to see a brand new basketball where players are even commenting on the difference, aesthetically and how it feels and bounces. To me, that's just wild that you're, the biggest portion of the year, the NCAA tournament, and you're using this opportunity to change the basketball. It seems such an NCAA move.
Well, and the ball does change a little bit throughout the year because each team has their own sponsor,
right?
And it gets in this world of the sponsorship and everything. Indiana plays with their Adidas one. Traditionally, it's even been said as well that Wisconsin has a very strange ball. You can look back to Cody Zeller, and other guys have mentioned that they've always thought those balls were a little weird. Maybe that's one reason we've had trouble there before. But Indiana has each different ball, and they practice with those before they go to different arenas and stuff like that. But we do need to get beyond that in college basketball. And I think that you can have your sponsorships and you can have it through all your other stuff, your shoes, your uniforms, and everything like that. But the NCAA does, I believe, need to move to a uniform ball for everybody. That way you don't have this craziness. You don't have this law. Yes, everyone's on even ground in dealing with this new ball. And maybe IU has a little bit of a thumb heads up over St. Mary's in this sense that we've played one game with this new ball and they haven't had a game time situation. Yeah, they probably practiced with it, but they haven't had game situations with this ball. But it's going to affect different teams differently because you do different things with the ball and as a team. And if you're driving more than another team and another team passes it more, a different ball that has less grip and everything is going to dribble, and it's going to affect your drive a lot more than it does your pass. So we just need to move beyond that. We need to move to a uniform ball, I believe, overall, and get past this. Moving to some positive thoughts. The biggest one, let's talk about Jordan. Jordan with more minutes than I believe he's had in a while, or at least for the year. I wasn't able to dig to see, with 19 minutes, finished with 15 points and 7 rebounds, just showing off what a freak of an athlete he is. And I feel like I can say freak because even his star center, his captain, called him a freak, freak of nature in the post game. First 6 points were those beautiful putbacks. He's just there at the right time, times his jump perfectly to just slam it back down. Just proving again, like I said in the opener, that IU has these complementary people that can just step up and play so well out of the blue and contribute when things aren't going for other players. What did you see from Jordan?
Just really excited, right? I mean, instantly my thought was like, man, just think if we would have had him against Iowa, right? What difference does he make there? And then
we've had way too many thoughts this year about that, guys that are out. And if we have,
and unfortunately that shouldn't be my instant thought, but I'm really excited for him. I think that the biggest compliment he received was from a guy like Race Thompson, who said, hey, I didn't have it. After the game, he sat there and said, hey, I was awful tonight, but Jordan Geronimo came in and picked it up for me, and that's the reason that we likely won. So to get a compliment like that, and then also hear your head coach compliment you, and we've talked a lot about the development of players, and in some cases the perceived lack of development across the board with players. But here's a guy who just continues to get better and better and better. And really, when you start to look towards the future, the sky's the limit. When you look at his athletic ability and what he's able to do in terms of timing, you mentioned it, timing those rebounds and putbacks. There's physically, you start to think about what he could be, and there's you look at the roster and look at guys that have potential to play at the next level, and he instantly moves towards the top of that list if he continues on this trajectory. So just excited, because that's what it takes in the tournament, right? Different nights, it's going to take somebody different stepping up, and to see him, mentioned it just a few minutes ago, come back from that. When I think a lot of people, when we saw that injury against Illinois and the way he awkwardly fell and gingerly limped off, that looked like a knee or an ankle injury that, there's instant thought was that he's not coming back for the tournament. So, just excited that young kids stepped up, bodes well for the future. And, it's going to take somebody different, to have a run in a tournament style. It's going to take somebody different every night. So just really happy for him and happy for the squad that somebody was able to step up and, we always point to this saying, but get us over the hump, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He's got all the list. Like you look at the list of a basketball player, you want to have someone that's an athlete. And I mean, he's at a 10, 11 in that. He was just blessed by the Lord with the most ridiculous body, the length, the size, and everything like that. And then the skills are there. He needs to work on his dribble and his handles, sure, but he's got a good shot. He's got a decent shot. He's got that mid range. He's hit a few threes. And you even saw that in his college highlights or high school highlights coming in. And that's what I was excited about as well, was his outside shot. And he was shooting it a lot more in high school, as they tend to. But it's just been that kind of mental click over that he's needed. And you're starting to see it. And I hope I was excited for it going into this year, and I expected it a little bit earlier, and it hasn't come as quickly as we kind of had hoped, but it's very exciting to see this. And moving forward, he's going to be a very integral part of this team. Now, Trace Jackson Davis had a very good second half. His first half was a little rough offensively, I should say. Ended with 29 points on the game, but had really kind of one of his best defensive games. Didn't really force anything, wasn't playing lazy through it. There's been too many times where now they didn't run very many pick and rolls, but when there is pick and rolls, he just kind of halfway through the motion and everything. But he was locked in this game. He was playing against a guy that was nearly a mirror image of him, a left-hander as well, someone that backs down quite a bit, someone that can beat guys often on the dribble, and he stepped up to that. He stepped up to that challenge, and as much as we have lamented it throughout the year, he's been sharpened by all the tough big men that he's had to play against in the Big Ten. and we're reaping the benefits now, and he is just clicking, as well as many other things on this team at the perfect time and everything. What did you see from Trace in this game?
Yeah, I mean, his play over the last week, and you said it right. I mean, there's been times where we're like, man, is the effort 100% there? But like, you look at the stretch of play he's provided, through the Big Ten tournament, and his, I'll call it a rebound. We were there for the first matchup against Illinois and really saw how he was kind of dominated against Kofi Coburn, and then to see him
Mm-hmm.
come back and take it to him against Illinois, and then his play against Iowa, and then it's almost like we've gotten into a point where we're kind of, it's kind of a quiet 29 points, right? Like we
Mm-hmm.
kind of take it for granted, but he's 29 points, 9 rebounds, a rebound away from a double double. Just you think about where we're at without him, and his play has been huge. He's the reason, obviously, we're in the tournament, right? His play in the Big Ten tournament, and then to carry it over again last night, and we're going to need him tonight again. Thought he was huge, right? He, took it against one of their best players and outscored them, and held his own defensively as well. He was very good at the defensive end as well. So just a week ago, we're sitting here wondering, where this season's going, and then you think about his play again, like I mentioned over the last week. It's been monumental. So curious to see how he comes out again against St. Mary's tonight, against a strong defensive team. But his play on Tuesday night was just tremendous, and just excited what we might see tonight.
Moving on to our point guards, Xavier Johnson struggled a little bit in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Ended 3 for 12 from the field and 1 for 2 from 3. He just he struggled to find his rhythm. He struggled to get downhill on this team. And again, I don't know if the oddity of the ball threw him off and just threw him off his game for the year, or for this game. The other interesting thing that I saw was Rob Fennessy. He had 8 minutes. He didn't attempt a single shot, had 1 rebound and 1 turnover. Rob looks, while he's still contributing and doing the great things that we know Rob can do on defense, in these last couple games, I feel like he's regressed back a bit in that confidence. He has turned down a lot of shots when he's had it open. What have you noticed from Rob, or now even maybe bringing it up now? Maybe you realize that what's going on with Rob? Do you think?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think it's a whole lot different from the Rob. I mean, it's if you look at it, it's been kind of an inconsistent ride, right? It's been somewhat of a roller coaster. You've got, you say it and you hate to say it, but sometimes there's this feel that there's a good Rob and a bad Rob. Always you're going to get some consistency defensively, right? He's a guy that can come in and check some pretty good guards, right? But like from an offensive end, he either seems to have it or he doesn't. And, still coming back from that injury a little bit, I don't think he's found any sort of groove yet. So I think it's going to be this kind of ride through the tournament. Obviously, we're going to need him on the defensive end. I think somebody shows you the box score from the game without having, specifically Indiana's box score, and not having watched it or know the final score. You look at the output from the perimeter and you're like, holy cow, I don't know if we won this game, right? I mean, you've got X with 10, and maybe I think Parker had 4 points, and I think Miller and Rob both went scoreless. So you'd sit there and scratch your head and be like, I don't know if we won this game, right? So again, I think you go back and speak to us fighting through some of these challenges, but we're going to need these perimeter guys to step up at some point through this tournament if we want to continue to play. So hoping we get a good version of Rob tonight, where somebody's going to have to step up, against a good defensive team. So again, I think it's a combination of just what we've seen from Rob over the course of the last couple of years. It's always been a bit of an inconsistent player, and also still continuing to fight back from that injury. So we'll see what we get tonight.
Yep. And Joel, you say it well in the chat there. There's an aggressive Rob or a hesitant Rob. And that's right. I mean, when he is clicking on offense, it's because he's aggressive and he's trying to get downhill, and he's probing, he's getting north-south. And when he's hesitant, he's just east-west. He's just out there passing the ball. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what fire or what things need to click that over, but it's obviously just been a career thing for him that he has struggled with and had troubles with. Tamar Bates got in there for a little bit, had 11 minutes, 2 points. I don't think he played in the second half, which continues to be kind of interesting to me. Would have liked to see maybe him coach probe him in a little bit more. I think he did get the run that he did get because we did struggle from the outside with Parker and Miller not hitting any shots. It's strange, and maybe this is too much of a loaded question or something to kick over to you, but you see videos of practice, and just a recent one yesterday that Hoosier Hysterics that Eric put out of them shooting around and going through shooting drills, and they're nailing them on a high clip and everything. So, but yet in games we don't hit them. It's so crazy. What's going on with that, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you saw the video from last night's practice. You saw the video from the walkthrough shoot around in Dayton as well. And these guys are just knocking them down. And you just keep thinking to yourself, at some point, we're going to get to a game where it just all clicks, right? These guys are just going to knock down a bunch of threes, but it just didn't happen. And then so you start to ask yourself, is this the confidence thing? Is it because clearly I don't know that it's a skill set thing. These guys have shown they can shoot the three, right? But it gets into the game, and it just, for whatever reason, and I remember early in the year, it's like, we're not running enough sets for these plays. We're running the ball, everybody's just standing around. We're trying to force it through Trace. If we run some sets for these guys, they're going to knock down these open looks. And and then we start to run some sets for these guys, and it's still not a high percentage of makes. And you point back to games, we hate to do it, but like you look back at Iowa, and man, if we just knock down one of those threes and one of those wide open looks, it's a different ball game. So at a certain point, we've just, these guys are skilled enough that they've got to get over that confidence. You point back to what Woody says, right? Get over that hump, right? Maybe it's a mindset thing, but at some point you just got to step up and knock down the shot. And it's a completely different mindset, sitting there making them in a walkthrough or a practice than when you turn the bright lights on and you've got competition in your face and the pressure of knocking it down in someone's face. So completely different. But yeah, I mean, you look at a guy like Tamar and I think that the staff liked Parker's defense a little bit better than what Tamar may bring inconsistently offensively. So they were willing to gamble a little bit. And Trey's another guy that, if he can knock down the occasional outside shot, it's a difference maker as well. He brings a lot of intangibles that other guys don't bring to the court, but, shooting, knocking down an outside shot's not one of them. So, we're a guy stepping up from outside away from being, and I think we already are a dangerous team. I think our defense makes us that. But if we can find somebody to step up and consistently knock down outside shots, we can play and beat anybody in my mind. So,
yeah.
Love to see somebody now would be the perfect time, right? So let's see what tonight brings.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I found myself having to do this, and we really need to do it as fans. We almost have to rewire our brain of how we watch these games, and this has been evident throughout the year because we're programmed to watch offense. Indiana, we've especially within the recent years, Tom Crean and that high potent offense that we had, and then any highlights you see of recruits, it's all offense. All you see is offense, and that's something that we all want to see in the flash and everything, but this team is defense. So we want to look at it and say, well, Tamar needs to get more play because he can contribute more offensively, but we have to realize that he may not be getting that because of defensively. He's not doing what coach wants to do. And it's tough to see that. It's tough to want to agree with that, but it's something that we have to realize is how you get on the court. And how this team is programmed and what's going to happen in that sense. So moving on to some stats that we've had in this game. Big one that was obviously points in the paint, 46 to 26, going along with that outside shooting that lacked. which was really good to see such a different margin as well, especially with this team wanting to back down both with their point guard and with their center. Second chance points, 16-6. That was great offensive, and 6 of those obviously contributed by Jordan Geronimo and those putbacks that he had. Fast breaks, 16-0. And then another big one, obviously, bench points, 19-5. Any other stats that kind of led out to you there?
It just points back to the impact that Geronimo had. I mean, you talk about those points in the paint and the rebounds, but then you look at Race Thompson's stat line, right? 4 points and obviously 7 rebounds is pretty solid. But you look at, I mean, that's not a typical game from Race, right? Double figure point scorer generally for us. So when we're able to dominate like that in the paint while only getting 4 points from Race Thompson, bodes well. And I think it also bodes well for what we may see tonight from Race, because it's very rare that you have 2 back-to-back games where Race isn't really providing an impact. So excited to see him potentially step up tonight. But I look at that. You combine like the lack of really any sort of presence on the perimeter. Obviously, X put up 10 points, but outside of him, it wasn't a lot of production. And then you look at what Race's line was, the fact that we were able to still get through with the win. And, it didn't feel like we ever really trailed in that game either. So for us to just get through, fight with our defense, I think that's really what sticks out to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So moving forward, obviously the Hoosiers play this evening, 7:00 ish, Eastern time. Obviously that time, that tip can kind of change as it is back-to-back different games, but this is where it gets fun. This is where a lot of basketball is going on and everything. I downloaded the March Madness app yesterday onto my phone, and it's amazing how technology has changed and what's become now is because even in that app, you can, and I'm not sponsored by them, so this is not an endorsement from that, but you can log into your cable provider and you can watch the games right there on your phone. Man, teenage me would have just been so excited for this. But going into this game, St. Mary's, kind of interesting. We're playing a Saint team on St. Patrick's Day. Very kind of convenient there, but not known as a very athletic team. Known as having a pretty good defense, but known as a very fundamental team. Their fundamentals are supposed to be very good, and they use a lot of the shot clock. They play a very slow offense. They're going to be methodical about it, and it's going to be interesting defensive side. I like that from a defensive end. We were kind of talking about it before we got up on this show. We won this past game because our defense was so good, and we stay in games because our defense is so good. And I like our chances in games. I felt really hesitant in the first game. This game, I feel pretty good, just because defensive teams tend to disrupt and win a lot more when they're going against teams that are known to be offensively a little bit better. Just because those offensive teams don't really face strong defense throughout the year. Yes, you might face another team that can hit shots like you can, but you're just dueling offenses. But when you struggle with your offense because the other team's defense is so strong, that just throws you off your game big time. I kind of point to the first Iowa game, or kind of both Iowa games. Indiana going against one of the top offenses in as far as efficiencies in the Big Ten, and obviously in college basketball, and IU frustrated them, and that gets them off their game. Now we needed to counter with some decent offense of ourselves, and we could have moved on. But that's kind of the way we hang our hat, and why I like us moving forward in the tournament. What have you seen about St. Mary's and previewing this game today?
Yeah, I think when you look at St. Mary's, their backbone is their defense. I think that they're top 10 in the country in defensive efficiency, which you've got to consider who they play when they've played them. They went out and played some teams in the non-conference, so that needs to be noted as well. But certainly their backbone is their defense. They pride themselves on their defense. I think they only give up right around 60 points a game. X mentioned that he wants to push the pace when he can, which is great, provided you're efficient. So it's going to have to be one of those type of games where I think it's going to look very similar in pace and kind of ugly style that we saw against Wyoming. Right, it's going to be kind of meticulous and slowed down, but we're going to have to take advantage of our opportunities. And it's really a game that I think somebody's going to have to step up from outside, and knock down some outside shots. I think Trace has the opportunity to have another big game. But I'm with you. I like our chances against teams like this, right? That pride themselves on defense, because we pride ourselves on defense too, and we're really, really good at it, and we're battle tested. One thing that I find of interest and of note, and I'm trying to figure out whether I think it's a pro or a con, is they haven't played since the 8th. And here we are, our fifth or sixth game in less than a week. And we've won 4 of the 5 of those, or 3 of the 4, whatever it is. So I like our momentum right now. I have a little bit of concern about our legs and how tired we might be, but as Woody said, these guys are 20. They should be able to recover, right?
No, you gotta say, shit, they're 20.
Yeah, all right. Your show. I was gonna let you say
That's
that.
Fine. You can throw that.
But yeah, I mean, so you start to, you look at kind of some of the travel hurdles and things like that. And so you question, are these guys going to have their legs, and, how tired are they? But it's the tournament, right? Let's find a way and get it done. So like our chances against a team like this, I don't think we're going to see some beautiful, articulate offensive game. I think it's going to be another grind, another low-scoring game where there's going to be chunks where everybody's going to say, man, this is really ugly. But, it's going to be up to the team that can find a way to lock down, take advantage of offensive opportunities, and get themselves over that hump. So I'm excited about our opportunity here. I think we match up well against them. And like you, I'm very confident going into it.
Yeah. So that tip, look for it around 7:00-ish and everything. Obviously, a lot of other games to watch as we go along today, and very exciting. Obviously, we want to take a peek and see what UCLA looks like, because that would be the next up. That if we win this, obviously they haven't played their game, but very highly likely that they win and advance in their game that they have coming forward. And just very exciting to get this bonus basketball that we have. So I guess let's wrap up this show. Just give me your kind of final thoughts on this game, and then just things moving forward.
Well, I always appreciate the opportunity to come on your show, because especially after games, right? And I think I've tried to take the approach a little bit more here recently of breathe a little bit, right? I mean, you look at where we're at a week ago, right? Coming off a week and a half, coming off the Rutgers loss, and kind of the mountain that we had to climb into the Big Ten tournament, and just the negative, the negative aura around the program, around the fan base. Everybody was frustrated because there was this sense that here we are, the sixth year in a row, that we're not going to make the tournament. And, and I think a lot of us, myself included, kind of gave up on this year's squad. And they didn't give up on themselves, right? They went into the Big Ten tournament, found a way to fight, get 2 wins that nobody really expected them to win, set themselves up to almost get a third win. And you look at where they were seated, and they needed every bit of that, right? I think we all felt pretty good, but then we're a little bit taken back on where they were seated. So they had work that needed done, and they got it done, didn't give up on themselves. And now it's changed everybody's kind of perception on the season, right? I mean, we start looking at what we were able to accomplish in our first NCAA tournament, and there's a lot of momentum. And I think that not only does it give me a lot of pride in what this team was able to accomplish, but it's also allowed me to kind of take a step back and like, maybe you don't need to be as reactive as you are. Like, let these guys are young kids. Let them fight a little bit and put together a full season before you write them off. So I've got a lot of excitement, learn to never give up on these guys. I think they're going to come out and compete and play well and put themselves in a position to win. Hope that they do, think that they will. For some reason they don't. I'm still going to look back on this season with a lot of pride on what, because I think what we've seen is this roster is clearly, missing a couple pieces that would take it to the next level. But these guys have been able to maximize what they've got and at the right time. And that's what gives me encouragement for tonight and encouragement for moving forward. So I'm excited. I'm excited about our opportunity tonight, and I can't wait to see how it folds out.
And I think you've hit it there, hitting things at the right time. This team is clicking at the right time. These coaches are clicking everything. It's interesting to time travel in your brain and go back to a month and a half ago or so. And I was going back and listening to some podcasts, some other podcasts from back at that time, and it's interesting to hear how doom and gloom some folks have been, and how many of us were. And while I've always tried to just at least stay focused on this show on the games individually, it's disheartening to see some that have been in the past more doom and gloom about the coaching staff and everything. And is this a repeat? And then now to see the switch over. Now we just need to realize that everyone's growing. This whole team's growing. This coaching staff's growing, and things are just getting better. And we have to give time. And now that we had that time, and they had that time to get over, things are clicking, and things are clicking at the right time for this team. And that's an exciting thing to have. And it's exciting to be able to live in this world where we are right now and just enjoy it. Just sit back and enjoy these games. Yes, it's going to affect you emotionally. Yes, it's going to get you crazy. Yes, I'm going to be standing in front of the TV, as I divulged before, my crazy ritual when things are getting tense. I sit and I have some weights, dumbbells that I curl. It's just what I do. It's how I cope with it. But look back at what a great roller coaster we had, and what great big steps forward we've had this year, and what the future brings, what recruits we have coming in, what players that we most likely think are going to be back, and that culture that is set and ingrained and is starting to be set as well by these players. Just such a great foundation going on. I did want to shift, as I always do, and like to let guys promote things. I was curious. I didn't cue you in on this before, but does Hoosier Ticket Project have reach out there in Portland? Are you guys trying to get some tickets out there for people, move things around? Woody did say he wants 8,000 of us there at the game. So have you guys been trying to do some things out there?
It's been interesting, right? We never expected to get, some tickets donated for the Dayton, the first 4 game, right? And somebody incredibly, graciously, selflessly donated a set of tickets that allowed an 11-year-old from Pittsburgh and his mom to attend their first basketball game, his first time seeing IU. So we never say never. Our whole mission is to get people down to IU and into Assembly Hall, Memorial Stadium for their first time. But we, the response to what we're doing has been so tremendous that we get people reaching out all the time with tickets to road games and venues where IU's playing on the road. So while we haven't promoted it per se, because it's a lot, I'll be honest, it's been a lot. We've got a women's NCAA tournament game that we've had nearly 20 tickets donated for. We had that game. And so matching all of those games has been taking up a lot of our time too. But if we do get tickets, we will do our absolute best. We'll find a home for them, right? So you never know what the availability is to find people at the last minute out in Portland to go, but I'm sure we would. So if that happens, if they drop on our lap, we will certainly find them a deserving home. But it's been such a tremendous ride with the project. You've seen it, right? The smiles on these kids' faces. So. We'll see what we get. Looking forward to the women's game on Saturday, where we're going to be sending probably close to 20 people as well. So continues to be an exciting ride. And the thing that makes me the happiest about it is the length of time it's extended, right? We thought we were going to be done a couple weeks ago, but we've got the women playing tournament home games. We've got the men obviously playing in the tournament. We've been gifted a set of baseball season tickets. So it's been a lot of fun. So I appreciate you asking.
Yeah. So, Martha, we'll end the show here. Martha, thanks for being on as always.
Absolutely.
One final shout out that I have to give to one of our youngest viewers. Dylan cued me in that his daughter, Sophia, loves to get up and watch the hoo-hoos, as she says. She likes to watch the games and everything. So, Sophia, how you doing? Thanks for watching the show and everything. But it's an exciting time, guys. We are playing basketball in March. Things are good again. Things are right again. Not only playing basketball one time, but we're playing it twice on the women's side. So support both those teams. Get out there if you can, if you're in Bloomington, and support the women's team and everything. And we don't have to wait long for basketball, guys. Less than 12 hours away, the Hoosiers are going to be playing basketball in the NCAA tournament. Again, another game. So very exciting. I'll be there with you again tomorrow morning. We'll talk about this game. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter at General Chadwick. There you can find out more information about the show, when I'm going to go live. Special thanks to Bob Thompson for producing the music you hear on the show. Guys, go out there. Have a wonderful day. And as always, let's go Hoosiers.